welcome Paul McAlpine, everybody.
Hey, thank you.
How are you, sir? So we are here to celebrate your amazing, I want to call it a coffee table book. Is it a coffee table book? Is that not a word you like? Again, speaking to, remember the microphone.
I do.
Not on the ear, the mouth.
It could be coffee, but it could be beer. It could be anything your choice. But,
anything you want to put it on, but it's beautiful. I would not suggest putting coffee or beer or anything on it.
Don't get it wet because they're coated pages,
Yeah. So this is what it looks like. It's like, how black could it be? And the answer is none more black.
Well, it comes in an iguana skin, imitation iguana skin slipcase. And, because Iggy's name comes from iguana. So, with that, we thought that would be a really cool thing to do with it. So, sure.
It's a limited edition, right?
Yeah, this edition is hand-numbered 1 through 1,000. Iggy actually did sign 100 of the book, and he wrote the introduction to the book. Well, it's his life, so he should.
So how does one get one's hands on the books that are signed by Iggy?
They went in 6 hours.
Oh, yeah. Of course they did.
I had trouble.
You had trouble.
Did I get one?
Okay.
So.
But this is amazing. So and Paul is going to stick around after the event, and you are going to sign them, right?
Yeah, 'cause it's a different book right off the top. I got to tell you that it's not a rock and roll book. It's a book on a rock and roll subject, but it's a book about life and survival. Anyone that's lived through the 70s, and they know what I'm talking about, because some of the pressures and some of the things and some of the just media, the changes of everything that we knew growing up was all changed. And so it's a book about survival, and it's a book about one artist, but it's also his extended family. And if you read the introduction by Iggy, he'll thank even his road crew. One of his best friends is Josh Grain. He's the one of the road crew that's been with him since 1986. So it's a different story.
So Paul put together a slideshow of some of his favorite shots from the pictures that are in the book. But before we get into the book, let's talk a little bit about this poster collaboration that you did with Zoltron. And Zoltran is here tonight, but he's terribly shy. He hates being interviewed.
He's sitting right there.
There, exactly. There, Zoltran, front and center, right here, our fronter at the end. So this is called California '88. And how does a photographer collaborate with
an artist?
An artist, yeah.
And actually, I'm a recovering artist, so what we did was last year. We started talking about doing a poster, and on the Post-Pop Depression tour, when Iggy came to San Francisco, it was at the Masonic Hall, I think it was.
The Masonic Auditorium, yeah.
And Zoltron had done the poster for that, and I went from city to city. You'd keep some of the posters, and that was one of my favorite posters from the tour. So I just sent him a message and said, hey, do you want to do a collaboration? And this is the first collaboration that we've done together.
And it's cool. You were showing me this earlier. There's little features that you're not going to be able to see from a distance. Mm-hmm. And these are available, right?
Yeah, I think downstairs.
Downstairs, you can get these. But so it's called California '88. So most of the references are California. Up here, you've got a little Fillmore logo. The Fillmore.
Actually, that's the backstage pass for the Fillmore West in 1988.
Okay.
We also have. We did a surprise gig at the Whiskey. Has everyone heard of the Whiskey A Go Go?
The Whiskey A Go Go.
Yeah.
Who hasn't gotten drunk and thrown up in the toilets at the Whiskey A Go Go?
Just try going down the back stairs. It's so steep. I watch one of my Nikons kind of go.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Whiskey's there, and the Palace, which used to be on Vine, is over here. And because in Iggy's life, actually, Gary Grimshaw. Some right there, the logo he did. And then there's a unique drawing by Iggy right over here, which I won't go into detail on.
Why?
Why? Well,
is it rude?
No, it's not rude.
Okay.
It's just a very...
So what does Iggy... I presume Iggy's seen this poster. Does he like it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so let's get into the book, Iggy Pop Bare Real. So before we show some of the slide...
Put it somewhere.
Yeah, sorry. I'm very... I'm new to the world of poster art. Renee and I do our podcast here, and I was unaware of what a big deal poster art is. So I'm still learning the ropes and learning who all these people are, and learning that you only hold posters in a certain way, and please don't spill your beer all over our poster, right? Okay, so Iggy Pop Bare Real. Paul put together a slideshow. Can everyone see the slideshow okay? Yeah. Are all of the all of the photos we're gonna? So there's more photos in the book than is in the slideshow, obviously. But are all of the photos that we see in the slideshow in the book?
No. Actually, that's Aerosmith is the first picture.
Okay.
So what I did was I just started a few pictures to show the decade and also how I started. And most people wouldn't believe how I started. And Aerosmith is the group that Alice Cooper was the first band I shot. I'll just tell you the story. I was in 11th grade between high school, and I wanted to be an artist, so I would do watercolor illustrations, and then I started using my camera to document the watercolor illustrations, and most of the subjects were music people. And Alice Cooper was coming to Boston, and I got a photo pass to shoot it. I had
What year was this?
1973,
okay.
March 26, actually.
Not that anyone's counting.
I got a text,
yeah.
And so March 26, 1973, I had never photographed a concert before, so I went and I had a 1955 rangefinder Canon, which was impossible to use, and I had a Russian camera called a Zenit E. So I had these two cameras and some film, and I got in the pit, and there's a photographer from Newsweek there. And I said, hey, what do I do? He said, no problem. Set your lens like this,
You literally had to ask him how to do everything?
I had never done it before.
Wow.
So, and at this point in history, we were told that Alice had just escaped from a mental institution. So I was a little nervous because I was a kid. I was 16. So I shot the concert, and I didn't know how the film came out. And afterwards, I went to the after party, and the after party was at a roller skating rink. And they had this guest list, and when they checked your name off, everyone tries to dress cool and be like, and they hit you in the face with a whipped cream pie before you actually entered the party. So everyone had whipped cream on their face, and we got in. It was a roller skating rink, so people had roller skates on, and there were beer machines, and people were throwing pies and beer over their shoulders and stuff. There were adult women there and stuff, and it was just as a
adult women,
16-year-old kid, I was like, wow, this is really happening, So that was my first introduction to the nightlife, really.
So was that like a light bulb? This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Well, it was a lot of light bulbs, yeah.
And
I was at the party. This guy came up to me and said, "Hey, I've got a band. It's called Aerosmith, and I saw you shooting Alice. Will you shoot my band?" And
was Aerosmith anything at that point?
They played high schools and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was perfect for me, actually.
Right.
And so they were playing Dedham High School the next week, and so I went and shot them, and I still didn't know if my Alice stuff came out. But the Alice stuff came out okay.
Yeah.
And Susie Quattro opened.
Quattro,
yeah. So it was really cool. And so, but one thing led to another, and through Aerosmith, they ended up doing a tour with this group called Mott the Hoople. Anyone heard of Mott the Hoople?
Yeah,
all the young dudes,
all the young
right?
dudes.
Yeah. So the opening acts were Aerosmith and Queen, and then Mott the Hoople was the headliner. And every night they would switch. Aerosmith or Queen would switch as to who would be. They would actually bicker and fight who would be first and second. The ticket price was $5.50 for the best seat in the first row. Yeah. So going with I got commissioned to do watercolor drawings of the guys in Mott the Hoople by their manager, and that was my first paycheck. I got $75 to do a watercolor.
That's a king's ransom back in those days.
Yeah. So, and I was still in high school.
Yeah.
So, just one thing led to another. Brian May from Queen is a really nice guy, and Roger, the drummer, was really nice, and so I became friends with them. And we never knew. I mean, they were an opening act. We never knew what was going to happen.
So tell us about this photo in particular. So what is that? A mirror or a?
Actually, this is I think it's a Pabst Blue Ribbon advertisement. So it's a mirror thing, and we just went out to the street and we hung it on a tree. And I was actually, this is still in high school. I'm right down there. Actually, that's me.
Oh, you can see you there.
Yeah, it's a curved mirror, and at that house actually in the background is on Commonwealth Avenue was made into a landmark in Boston because Aerosmith lived there.
Yeah,
it's weird, but so we hung around the tree, and I was laughing the entire time because if I got lower, their heads turned into like little oval potatoes. So but this is the best one.
That's cool, and it's almost psychedelic.
Well, it's definitely psychedelic.
Yes.
You whack that in one of like Photoshop. I don't want to say the word Photoshop, but Photoshop. Yeah, you can do great stuff with that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we got a bunch of photos, and so my Apple TV that I have at home. It has got 3 buttons on it. The new Apple TV is very fancy, and I don't know if I know what I'm doing. I'm glad Mikal is here, so if I screw up, Mikal, you'll let me know, but I think it's pretty easy. So we'll move on to the second slide.
Now we're June of 1975. So now I'm 18 years old at this point. And they had a lotus-shaped stage, and I was standing on a folding chair trying to shoot with a long lens.
Okay, so it's the Rolling Stones, and who else is there?
Well, it's the Rolling Stones themselves. I mean, it's actually Ronnie Wood, Billy Preston,
Billy Preston. Okay, that's who I was asking about.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
and Keith.
Yeah,
and that was the band on that Lotus tour. Yeah.
Did you do the whole Stones tour?
No, that was just one night. Yeah.
Did you get?
I'm a little kid. My parents say.
Yeah.
I'm going off with the Rolling Stones.
So, but how did you get access to one-offs? How could you just go in and shoot the Stones?
You could at this point in '75, you could actually just buy a ticket and go photograph it.
Okay.
You didn't have photo pass or anything like that.
Okay.
And I had a good seat. Well, sort of a good seat, and I was standing on a folding chair. So
okay.
I could have had both of my legs broken.
That's a cool shot.
At the same time.
That's a really, really cool shot. Okay.
Next.
Go ahead. Did you have anything else to say? Okay. So the next one is, look at that, Freddie Mercury.
This is Freddie Mercury
and
Queen. And this is 1977. So 1977, that was me. I was about to turn 21. And when you're a kid, you have no fear. You don't realize when you're doing things like you shouldn't, might not be, shouldn't, may not do.
Yeah.
It's a really good language there, problem. So this is Freddie's piano, and I was leaning on his piano while he's doing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wow.
And I was 20 years old. So, and the reason why I can tell it's Bohemian Rhapsody is because when the Queen, you had to realize when they had certain songs, they had a lot of smoke. And so the pit was not a place to be. And Brian changes into the Xander Rhodes outfit with the long pointed sleeves. So it turned out, I didn't realize it at the time, but one of the most important songs of that of our generation, actually. That period. Have
you seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody?
No.
Well,
I mean, because I was there, so
no,
I don't want to see some other guy.
So is this another question of you just showing up and taking photos? It seems like you would have more access to the fact that you're leaning over his piano.
Yeah. This is Madison Square Garden. I was there for the band, and I shot a lot of the store.
Did you get to know them?
Yeah.
How are they?
It's great. I mean, Brian and Roger are a lot of fun, and John's a quiet guy, the bass player, and Freddie, as you imagine Freddie to be, Freddie was.
Yeah. Flamboyant.
Everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, so he was great. But as far as just, chums, Brian's a really cool guy, and Roger had fun.
Yeah.
So,
don't see the movie. You would hate it.
No, it's all right. I don't need to see it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so next.
Hopefully no one worked on the movie here.
No, I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure nobody worked on the movie.
A dart comes.
I know anybody close to the band wasn't, unless you're Brian May or what's his name, John Taylor, didn't particularly care for it. Okay, so look at that handsome guy, Rod Stewart.
Yeah, this is Rod Stewart on the Blondes Will Have More Fun tour. I think that's what it's called. Also 1977, and this is Madison Square Garden. It was the first frame of the night, and we had sort of a routine you'd go to. I mean, it was like sort of a sports team. British bands have a little different attitude.
Hang on, I know what this story is about. You can't be so obtuse.
No, but I mean, you had like the certain things you did before you went out because you had to prep yourself to get out there. So
what he's talking about is you have to get loaded.
Well, not
before you went on.
Photographers couldn't be too loaded, though. But I mean, I just did a shot of Jack, and to relax, because you don't want to hold the camera and be nervous and all that sort of stuff. So this is the very first frame of the night in Madison Square Garden, and it turned out it was the promo picture for the tour. I could have gone home after one frame.
Really?
Yeah. So.
And did you end up shooting the tour, or again was this
I shot like 5. At that point in history, they didn't really need to bring around. Tour photographers, I would always be getting calls in the middle of the night, come to room 309, and you go there, and there'd be like some sort of, mannequin on the bed, and like everyone be like, half dressed, and that's what they wanted the tour photographer for, more than the live pictures.
To document the debauchery.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, or just the weirdness. I mean, I never understood that. And it was a Devo person surrounded by girls on a bed. It wasn't really even a person. It was just a mask with some clothes and stuff. It was just weird.
Okay.
Next.
Next photo.
It's like, that's why I'm here? It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I went backwards. Sorry.
All right. And this
my God. So when we were going through some of these slides earlier, and
I caught your attention.
You caught my attention.
I caught your attention, yeah.
He said, "Is the Debbie Harry photo in the slideshow?" And I'm like, "The one where she looks really fucking hot." And he goes, "Yes." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's there." So tell us.
Well, there's something more about this picture. When in the old like Dracula and Frankenstein in the old days, they didn't have an anti-halation backing on the film. So when they took the negatives and made the positive prints, the blacks would sort of glow to give it that warm, romantic feeling. That's why Dracula and Frankenstein are just so wonderful, those old movies. So there's a way of doing this in the darkroom where you take a pair of pantyhose. This is where I got your attention. You take a pair of pantyhose and you put it on around a coat hanger, and if the exposure was 18 seconds, you'd give it 10 seconds through the pantyhose and then 8 seconds straight exposure. And it would give you the nice creamy tones to the skin, and the blacks would glow. And it gives it a really nice feeling. And also, a woman performer, you want to try to, appease the world by making it softer in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to see everything. If you see everything in life, it's not. You lose the. The magic sometimes.
I was saying to you earlier, is it like the Vaseline effect that you see in some old movies that they use, especially with women? Actress. No, not really.
But this way you can control it much more, because the 8 seconds and 10 second thing, you could change it so it's just a touch, or you could do it so it's just the surrounding area instead of the face or something. You have total control of it, even though it's just a piece of pantyhose.
This is probably too early into this whole thing to ask this question, but it did occur to me now that you were saying all this. So old school film versus digital. I presume digital can now do all these things for you without.
No, you can't. You actually can't do the thing with the pantyhose on digital.
So do you still shoot film and digital?
Yeah, I shoot film and I shoot digital. Yeah, I usually don't shoot film unless I can stay in a city long enough to process it, because just going through airports and all that sort of nonsense, they just don't Ziploc bags, and they
that whole thing
give you grief and stuff. Yeah.
So preference.
Well, this real film has soul. There's something about it that's really.
So this is like the vinyl versus whatever.
Yeah, but digital film, the sensitivity, especially in black and white, and you get at higher speeds, it's capturing things that you'd never had before. And also, some of the new technology for lenses, the nano coating that Nikon has, is when you're shooting at a concert and people are smoking grass and smoking whatever they're doing, and there's a lot of haze between you and the band if you're doing full. Some of the new technology cuts through the haze, so we never had that in the old days.
Okay.
What's next? Oh, so this is
look at that.
Yeah, Warren Zevon.
And excitable boy.
Yeah, so I just asked him to lie on the sidewalk.
Yeah, so tell us the story behind this.
Well, basically I was just hanging out with him for the day, and there was a guy in Boston called Sidewalk Sam. You can see his name over there. Okay. And he did these chalk drawings for all different things.
So I remember the Excitable Boy, that's the cover of Excitable Boy, the record, is it? But with fangs on it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think there's fangs on the cover, though. Maybe there are.
No, I'm sure there's not. No, so that was Sidewalk Sam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's for the Werewolves of London.
Oh, of course. Yes. Duh.
I don't know if anyone's following this story that we're having up here. It's like, do you know so-and-so? Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So anyway, he was game for anything. So I like people that just say, hey, go over and pass out on the sidewalk. So he did.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where did you say this was? Boston?
That's Boston, yeah.
Okay.
It's right outside of a little club called the Paradise.
Okay. Warren Zevon had a reputation as being difficult. Was he difficult?
Nope.
No.
Not for me.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe for...
He hated people on the radio.
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
They can't speak for that.
Yeah. Okay, what's next?
Next is...
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's a new group.
Near and dear to my heart.
Another pantyhose one. This was a new group from Ireland called U2, and it was at the Ritz in New York, and it was in a really dark hallway, and I didn't know there was a mirror in the background. And I just used a 24mm lens, and I was just focusing on the brim of Bono's hat. And subsequently, they got really mad at me because...
Who did, the band?
Yeah, because Edge had a beard.
Oh,
and then
the Edge also had hair at one point.
Well, he does there, and then he didn't shave the beard off for like 10 years. And Bono called me and said, "Hey, remember that picture you took at the Ritz?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Well, I want that for my house." And I was like, "You gave me such grief about the beard."
Yeah,
it was like he hasn't taken the beard away. So
that's
it's
so
like,
funny.
Yeah, it was
so
kind of funny.
this is this is a stupid question, but do you can you get a sense when you meet a band? Here's this Irish band in the Ritz in New York, and I will never see them again. Or this Irish band, and they're going to be megastars.
I knew instantly.
Megastars.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you get that feeling, and that's why I felt it with Queen and with Aerosmith. You knew because they had the songs. You knew in your gut. It was just like, yeah, this is really happening. They just had to stay alive.
So Bono called you. So you must have stayed in touch. Have you worked with them since?
Only once. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. What's next?
I know.
I went backwards. U2.
Next.
I'm doing the wrong thing again. There.
All right.
Oh my God! Look at that.
Yeah.
David Bowie, the Thin White Duke.
This is a guy. The first time I photographed him was on the Diamond Dogs tour in '74, and we sort of. I had a friend I was sort of dating from Main Man, which is his management company, and so when David came around, I would always photograph him, and he's a great performer to photograph, and his life's work is just brilliant. And this is from the Serious Moonlight tour. That's what it was called. And
so the Serious Moonlight tour was what, mid '80s?
I think it's 82.
Okay, 82. Early '80s.
Yeah, 82. And but I had photographed him, on the Eisler tour and various earlier tours. But this is one of my ones I love. I love.
I
this
bet
image.
there's never. You can't take a bad photo of him, huh? Probably. He's like one of these.
Yeah, but because he dresses well. Yeah. So it's good. Yeah.
That looks like an iconic. I mean, has this photo been used? When I saw this earlier, I was like, that looks like a photo I've seen before.
It's in the Museum of Fine Arts Boston collection, and it's in a touring exhibition now.
Okay.
I forget the name of the exhibition, but it's touring around different museums.
Is the David Bowie connection through Iggy Pop? Or?
No. David was through this Mary Carroll,
okay,
his friend that I met in New York. Yeah,
okay.
So she worked for David. Yeah.
Okay, so
1980 we're looking at, and there was a group in Boston, the Cars, and Boston we had this club called the Rat, and we would always hang out at the Rat. And one night, I never got a job by bringing my portfolio someplace. It's like, I want to do something. And so I was at a sushi bar in Boston, and David, the drummer, came up to me and said, "Do you have time to do our album cover?" And I was like, "Sure." So we built a round room. This is 5 different photographs, but it was actually a completely white round room. And then I lit it. I just met George Horrell, this Hollywood photographer from the 40s and 30s. And so I was really into Hollywood light, and we got these wild shadows. And then we used masking tape and blue pencils. It was before Photoshop.
Yeah.
And stripped it all together. Yeah. It's really cool.
I know Candio. I mean, I know a couple of Cars albums. What album was this?
This is the 3rd album, Panorama.
Was there any hits on that?
Touch and Go.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was really funny. This is my first platinum album, and they called me and they said, "You have a platinum album. Can you come and pick it up?" And I said, "How much do I have to pay for it?" I didn't realize it was
for
gave
you.
It to me. Yeah.
Like, do you still have it?
Yeah. It's in my bathroom.
That's cool. Oh, I went forward too quickly. Okay. Okay, yes, we're in the right place.
Right.
Who is this?
This is actually a performer she's from Mississippi originally, and then Brooklyn, New York for a long time. Sarah Lipstate. She has a group. She is novella, and she paints the most beautiful landscapes with music, layers and layers of guitar. And I met her on the Post Pop Depression tour, and she She played here actually with Iggy.
So that was the last Iggy Pop tour. So she was.
Well, he's done some since then, but that was the big one for the support the album.
Right.
And so Sarah and I became friends, and because I really love her work, and this is the picture I took of her on that tour. Now the story continues on, that Sarah is the guitar player on Iggy's new album.
Okay.
And Iggy, he's really supporting a lot of younger artists now, and it's to help carry the music and giving younger people a chance.
Yeah.
And so his new album has jazz, it has this really beautiful music of Sarah, but he has spoken word on there. Yeah. And it's like he said, screw everything, I'm doing what I want.
Good.
Completely what I want.
Yeah. I mean, but there's artists like that. I saw, it's different beasts, obviously, but Robert Plant played at Hardly Strictly Bluegrass a few weeks ago. And he's a guy, there's some artists, David Byrne is the same, people who refuse to be just stuck in the past and keep forging forward. And I really admire that. And they will acknowledge their past, but they don't mire themselves in it. And I think Iggy's one of those guys.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you are where you are today because of yesterday, but yesterday brought you here, and your fans want the new material, but they want to hear some of the other things. Yeah. So you can pull out one song, each night. Yeah. And he actually recently brought Genie, the David Bowie song, which is about him. And he's been doing that in Europe, not in the United States yet.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, so next. Oh my God, the man of the night. We've been talking all this time about Iggy Pop, and we haven't seen a photo of him yet.
All right, so the first night that I ever photographed Iggy was through David Bowie's office, and he had a reputation of being sort of a high risk artist. And,
hang on. Define high risk.
Well, no, I mean because he had a reputation for extremism. That's what I would say. And for me, I had never seen him before, and I went because of the Bowie connection, and I wanted to see Blondie. And so Blondie was the opening act, and they played at a small theater in Harvard Square called the Harvard Square Theater. It's gone now. And so Blondie opened, and then Iggy came on, and the stage was just wood, white lights, and music, pounding out raw power. Now, this is the same year that I was with Queen with Xander Rhodes costumes, elaborate light shows, smoke machines, and all this. And suddenly, I'm standing there, and I'm seeing such intensity, and it was like a performance artist. Yeah. With a rock and roll background, a band behind them.
So was that your first time really seeing punk rock?
Well, we never thought of put labels on things back then.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing tonight? Well, at the Rat, it's Wayne County, or, I can go see Toots and the Maytals over at this place. There was so much to do. And I don't remember any labels on music.
Yeah. So in this photo, there's a bunch of shots of Iggy Pop.
Yeah, indeed.
But up in the corner, the right-hand corner, there's Debbie Harry, right?
Yep.
And then look down at the very bottom right-hand corner.
Oh, yeah. The keyboard player was David Bowie, and he just nonchalantly had his Heineken and his cigarettes.
So did people know that David Bowie was there?
I would hope so. But it was before The Idiot came out. It was like 5 days before The Idiot came out. So, I mean, I would hope they did, but no one paid attention to Bowie as soon as Iggy came out. The band, they did the introduction to Raw Power, and when the energy level got up, Tony and Hunt Sales, great rhythm section, got right. He came out with a leather jacket on, let it fall from his shoulders and 10 fingers down his chest. And it was just like red stripes. Yeah. And but David Bowie, it's like, who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Yeah. So I asked you earlier about whoever it was, Aerosmith, or whoever you went to when you first shot a band, and was that like, this is what I want to do. Was when you saw Iggy Pop, were you like, I want to be his photographer?
No, but I had never ever experienced that intensity in real, and it was total real. Yeah, and it was intense, and it was very. It was. He was bearing his soul to us, and because this is the period where everyone was doing shows like tap dancing and stuff, and this was straight out. Yeah. So, and then as my background is as being an artist, I went to art school and all that sort of stuff. So I was, very sensitive to performance art, and I just was That's what caught me initially. So in 1977, I did the Idiot tour, and then he came back and did Lust for Life, which has the song Lust for Life, and then on it.
The book Iggy Pop Bare and Real has got a subtitle.
Yes.
Which is no drugs,
no sex,
no sex, no drugs, no German jokes.
Right.
So we are going to actually adhere to that tonight. When people want to talk about Iggy Pop, they want to talk about the salacious side of it. And there's so much being written about it. We're not really going to...
No one would believe it. You wouldn't. If I told you what an average night was like, you wouldn't believe it. So
it's so.
Why even start?
In its debauchery, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, at periods. Yeah, I'll tell you one. This is the story. I left a party. My policy was when people started talking about spaceships and pyramids, it's time to go to bed. I think we've all been there, right? And so it's like spaceships and pyramids. Oh, I have to go now. So I left at 3 a.m. and then I went back to my room. And in the morning, I woke up, went to the pool, had coffee, and da-da-da. And then 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I got a call, and the guys were, "Hey, can you come back to the room?" And I was like, "What?" The party was still going on. 3 o'clock, 12 hours later. And it's like, you guys are still like at it? Yeah. It's like,
Okay, but at least explain the no German jokes.
Oh, the no German jokes was, I was working with a British band, and if anyone's seen Monty Python or Benny Hill or on our side of the pond, it would be the Three Stooges slapstick.
Yeah.
And we had a bus, and we were traveling from Berlin to Hamburg to Frankfurt to Dusseldorf and stuff. And for like 3 days, we had the German promoter on the bus, and so we had it was like Agatha Christie. We had an envelope, and someone wrote, actually, "There's a German on board the bus." I think that's all it said. And we handed it around the bus, so everyone would behave. Yes. Really, because British people sometimes they have a sense of humor.
Oh yeah.
And so I actually handed it to the German on the bus.
That's funny.
Being the stupid American,
okay.
It's like, oh, here you go. Right.
So now we've covered no sex, no drugs, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, we'll move on.
So this is the Idiot.
Yeah, the classic. Look at that. The Idiot was what,
1977. Spring,
yeah.
So this is also one of the most creative periods for Bowie. Heroes. There's a trilogy of Hello.
Yeah.
Those albums came out, and
so is the Idiot co-written? Did they co-write the album?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, and then the Idiot had Night Clubbing, which Grace Jones did, and that just has like a little machine drum that they used. That it was just great. And then the China Girl, which is a beautiful, passionate song. Yeah. Love song. Heroes is a love song, I think. So
it's funny. So China Girl is on there, and then of course Bowie.
Actually, the China Girl is in the book.
Oh,
the actual woman.
Are we going to see it in the slideshow?
I don't think you're going to. Okay. I don't know if you're going to see it in the slideshow, but she's in the book. She's actually a real person.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So at this time they were collaborating. So for the Idiot tour, was Bowie on the tour? They played together.
Yeah, you saw the picture. Yeah, on Lust for Life, he was gone. He was working on another project.
Okay.
So
there he is.
Yeah.
Again.
David.
Where is this? What is this?
Look at the fly. It's like
so
Yoko Ono just arrived. You ever see the movie The Fly, where it's just a fly walking around someone's body?
That's so funny.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go away, fly.
No, that's right. It's kind of sort of
a
little interactive.
It's performance art.
Yeah.
It's performance art.
Right.
I interviewed Yoko Ono once at the Museum of Modern Art here, and it was the most awkward 20 minutes of my life. So she had this exhibit that she and John had done, and it was, an apple on top of a white ladder.
Yeah. Oh, the white ladder was great, though.
Yeah. But I went, I'm nervous. It's Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
And so I go in to interview her, and I was young, just starting out in radio at 20, whatever. I say, hi, my name is Greg McQuaid, blah, 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 from KFOG Radio. How are you? And she goes, I'm fine. And it's very cold and steely. And then I turn on the microphone, and I'm like, hi, Yoko, how are you? And she goes, you already asked me that. And like that was the start of the interview. So
Yeah.
it was a long 20 minutes.
I guess.
Anyway.
Yeah, she's been sweet, and I always thought.
Having said that, I got to interview Bowie a couple of times, and he was the sweetest man ever.
And really funny.
Really funny.
Early days, it was, later, extremely funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Funny. So this is...
There's Iggy on the floor.
Yeah, that's Iggy at the Palladium in New York City, and his face was painted white. He had white, red lipstick on, and his hair was greased down. And this is the influence that from living in Germany, the German
So
theater.
he and Bowie were in Berlin, right?
And the kids. I'm not sure the kids in the audience had any clue what was going on. And he was very into like extreme poses too.
Yeah.
You'll see that in the book actually. And for me as a photographer, this is a dream. It's like, the intensity is there, the music's there, and such an incredible face to work with.
Is there ever a night when Iggy wasn't on, like where he just?
No. I mean, there would be nights where the audience wasn't.
Yeah.
You feed off the audience. I think all performers feed off the audience. If the audience is just going to sit there, and you're going to actually get a little bit more intense and like, hey, wake up.
Yeah.
But he is very serious about doing what he does.
I'm probably fast forwarding the 4 photos that are probably more relevant to what we're about to talk about. But I told you earlier, when I think I was 12 or 13, my sister had lived in New York, and she was part of the whole punk rock scene in New York. And so I grew up in Dublin, Ireland, and she decided she was going to take me to my first punk rock show. And so we took a ferry from Dublin to Holyhead in Wales and took a train to London, which is like the whole journey is like 8 hours, and you could fly in an hour. And she took me to Iggy at the Hammersmith Odeon. And I suppose it was 1983. It blew my mind. I'm not saying it was like that's the moment I'm like I want to work in music or work in radio or join bands, but I did start a band shortly thereafter. But him crowd surfing, and I'm not sure if he tore open his chest with a bottle, but I like to think in my mind that he did. It was insane.
Romantic
and
thought.
him crowd surfing and the I Want to Be Your Dog was just the most intense thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, it's teenage lust, and really, I Want to Be Your
Yeah.
Dog. But crowd surfing, this is the 50th anniversary, the debut of the Stooges' first album. I mean, they were together before this.
So raw
50
raw
years.
power.
But, no, we're talking about the Stooges' first
Oh,
album.
okay.
Yes, this year is the August, or I think the end of August, or
Yeah.
30th, or something like that, the anniversary. So, but he was the person that invented crowd surfing, and it was 1970 in Cincinnati, where he walked out on the kid's hands, and he has incredible body tone, so he could do it. And someone handed him the peanut butter, and he did the smearing of the peanut butter on himself, and so it's just amazing. And he still does. He goes if the stage and the audience, if it's a leap that he thinks he can make,
he'll do it.
He still does it. And recently, last year, and he was in Switzerland. I think Switzerland, Montreux, jazz,
Switzerland.
Yeah, and he didn't estimate it right. And
he hurt himself.
Well, he lost a front tooth.
You said you don't like labels, but there is always this debate of who was the first punk rock band? Was it the MC5 or was it the New York Dolls or was it the Stooges?
The Los Psychos from Peru in like 1961.
Okay, well that
something.
puts all the other debates.
You look them up. You'll see.
Yeah. All right.
They were like the South American Ramones, but in the 60s.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So we're back still on Lust for Life here, and this is from the title page of the book, and it's just incredible. There's just broken glass on the stage. There's all sorts of crap on there, and he's just like reaching. It's like he's not paying attention to the audience. He's in his moment, really.
Does he completely zone out?
I wouldn't call it zoning out. I think he's just having his moment of being an artist, and it takes the band behind you. You feel that they're supporting you in the right way, and then you can do anything you want if everybody's in sync.
You talked about Iggy misjudging a crowd surfing jump and knocking out his teeth in Switzerland. Did you ever get hurt as a photographer for Iggy Pop?
Yes. I actually kind of judged it as a good night in a strange way, where you get pushed against the stage, because sometimes the most intensity and most action actually happens when you're in the pit, and then you get the kids behind you. And I think there's a picture actually in the slideshow of the kids reaching out. Brixton Academy, it's a place in London, and it was in December, and they were reaching over my head with a 24mm lens, and he's like reaching out to the demons in his head, and it's a great image. It's in the book.
Okay, well that brings up another question then.
Fractured ribs. I've had fractured ribs.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Oh man, what the hell happened last night?
On our podcast that I host with Renee, we had Jane Weedland from the Go-Go's on, and she was talking about how when the Go-Go's went to the UK in the late 70s or early 80s, they were opening up for like the Specials or whomever, and it was at the when punk rockers were spitting at bands and all of that, and how disgusted they were by it, but everyone was just like, this is just is part of the deal. By country, are the British the more intense crowds? What's the craziest crowd
well,
you've ever
I think
seen?
they're not shy. No, I mean,
I like that.
Well, they sing along to the music and stuff like that. Spit, everything in the book about spit and beer and cum and all sorts of stuff that's on the floor of a theater. And it was after we had done the Whiskey a Go-Go. My jeans were really needing to be washed, because you're kneeling on all that, whatever that stuff is on the floor, and it's a unique smell that you can only come out of a theater.
Yeah.
So I had washed my jeans. I was staying with this girl, and she was a seamstress for rock and roll bands, and so I hung up my pants to dry, and the bus was leaving. So they were still wet, and we were going to the Fillmore, up to the Fillmore. So I grabbed a pair of jeans out of a shopping bag on the answering machine and put them on, rolled up the legs and stuff, and got up to the Fillmore and ripped one of the knees out. And I got back to the hotel, and there was a message: "Please return Roy Orbison's jeans." And I'm walking down the street singing "Pretty Woman" to myself.
That's so funny.
I was going to give him $20. So I thought that they fit pretty good. Roll up the legs. Yeah.
I love that there actually was seamstresses for band. I just thought it was a lyric, and you see it in movies, but bands actually had seamstresses.
Yeah. Yeah, and they actually traveled with them a lot more than photographers for some reason.
Okay. Okay.
So this is now we're moving along, and it's with a super wide angle lens, and so we're going through the 70s. We can sort of move a little bit here.
But we're in the right place.
Yeah, we're in the right place.
So his name is did you always is Iggy Pop referred to as Iggy by everybody, or do you call him by James or Jim?
When we would go have dinner, it would be Jim.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're in a crowd of people in backstage and everyone's yelling and stuff, we say Iggy.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is, and it gets confusing. But yeah, if you're just like at his house or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same person. It's not like a character or anything like that. It's just...
Okay, well then how is he at his house?
Like,
is he
making
just normal guy
breakfast
making tea?
Yeah, I mean, the secret with most rock performers, they get up very early in the morning, believe it or not, because you can go shop. If you live in a big city like Manhattan or something like that, you can go shopping on your own, and no one bothers you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is completely out of nowhere. I was on a plane a couple of weeks ago from LA to here, and what I like about Green Day is that they still fly Southwest Airlines.
Yeah. Only,
yeah.
Okay.
Like they're very wealthy. But I've noticed when you're around, when famous people are around other people, they have a mode that they go into, which is never look up. And never make eye contact. And it's not to be rude, but it's just like they know that the moment they make eye contact with somebody, it's...
You know what you can do? Some of the Iggy's players, his band does. When we're at an airport, and they come up and say, "Are you musicians? Who do you play for?" Well, they say they're on a cruise ship.
Oh, that's funny.
Carnival Cruise Lines or something like that.
Part of a cruise. All right.
Yeah, we're musicians.
That's good. Okay, moving right along.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, because we got a bunch.
I'm freaking blind. I'm upside down all the time. Okay, there's Iggy on David Letterman.
Yeah, this is a fun afternoon. It's the first first afternoon he ever did the David Letterman show, and we didn't have any money, and you can tell he's no designer stuff going on there, and so like little kids, we snuck in a little bottle of Jack Daniels, like kids, and so we had the girl that was she was the makeup artist for Cats, and she did his ears in purple, and and we had a lot of fun doing that. And then I went back to the Chelsea Hotel, which is a notorious hotel, and in the next room there was a girl had just OD'd in the next room, and so I went next door because everybody else went next door, and we got her fixed up. And the first thing she said was, "Can I go to see Iggy tonight?" And I was like, "You were just dead," It's like. So then I got to the gig, and Iggy had a bottle of Jack Daniels no one was allowed to touch, and he's standing there naked with like war paint on his face, and I grabbed the bottle and I was like, clunk, 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 clunk. And you could tell he was mad, but once he found out what happened. But that was an average day. I mean, so, yeah.
Was the way Letterman had favorite pet bands, was Iggy a favorite pet of his?
I wouldn't call him a pet.
Well, that came out terribly. But because Warren Zevon.
Yeah, Warren Zevon was.
Yeah.
I mean, you just if you hit it off with personalities, But
all right,
pet. So this is zooming along actually, and this photograph actually is from the very beginning of the Blah 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 tour, and we had no cash, and this is one of the funnest moments we had. We stayed at a lot of motor inns and things like that, and this is in Santa Barbara at the El Prado motor inn, and it was in the afternoon. If you look really closely, he's got a cell phone with an antenna. I don't know if anyone's ever had one of those.
Yeah.
And he was just doing an afternoon interview on the first day of the tour, and I had to go carry out dinner because we didn't have any cash and to bring back. And we played a dinner club. They had the specials board would be like it was type of fish tonight, and Iggy Pop was down on the special.
That was like board. Puppet Show and Spinal Tap.
So yeah.
My old
roommate was actually in Spinal Tap.
What was he?
As himself.
Okay, cool.
So I'm not sure that's a good thing.
What role? Sorry, I can recite every line.
He was a lighting designer.
Okay, cool, excellent. All right, move. Blah blah blah. Is that Real Wild Child?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
So then we zoom along to this is in outside of where I was last night. It was in West Hollywood at the hotel that we stay there, and there was a place called Dreamboat Rentals, and it's Kevin Armstrong and Phil and Seamus and Iggy. They had gotten him a limousine for the night, which was very rare because we were doing 2 nights at the Palace, and he was jealous that we had this cool car to drive to the gig. So we took one really quick picture outside this hotel that we've stayed there since 1986. And
what is the name of that hotel?
The No-Tel Motel.
Oh, okay.
No, it's Le Parc. Yeah, it's a really nice hotel in West Hollywood.
Cool.
Yeah. And then we moved along to and people would start showing up. This is Elmore Leonard. He's a writer.
Yeah.
In
Detroit. Oh my God, what did Elmore Leonard write? That TV show that I loved. Oh Jesus.
Did it get Shorty Bun?
No.
No.
God, I am going down a rabbit hole. It's going to come to me in a second.
Anyway,
never mind.
In the background, we have Suchi was his wife, and then Seamus, he was in Madness, and then Kevin Armstrong. Does anyone remember Live Aid, one of the biggest concerts ever? Well, David Bowie had a band. Well, David asked Kevin to get the band together for him, and so they look like they're actually doing circles in the background. I'm not really sure what's going on, but yeah, Kevin was really quiet. He never mentioned that he was the guitar player for Live Aid for Bowie's Heroes.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And Kevin has a brand new album out. He wrote Outside, the Bowie song Outside. Yeah, and he has a new album called Run. Cool. It's an excellent album.
Okay. The Elmore Leonard thing's gonna kill me. I'll get it in a minute. Okay, move along. Google it. Okay.
Hey, we're home here. So on Halloween in 1986, we're on the way to Wolfgang's, which was a club in the city, and the bus was stuck in traffic, and I just saw shooting out the window of the bus. And
that's got to be North Beach, right?
You can see, I'm not really sure. Doesn't sit in the bus,
but
sure you can see the kids walking by in Halloween costumes, and it was just such a it's life really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wolfgang's was down on Columbus Avenue, I believe. So that
probably.
Yeah. Okay.
The bus finally arrived. So this is the next one is at the Ritz in New York, and this is a picture that you'll see later in the slideshow. But it's just the intensity and of Jim on stage.
What year is this?
This is still 1986.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next one.
Okay.
This is actually kind of funny. After no one came to the early gigs and stuff, but afterwards you just go if you're lucky, get a cold beer and wipe yourself off and your film and stuff. And I tried to go back to the dressing room, and there were all these like big bodyguards and stuff. And I walked in, and there was Rick James, Carlos Alomar, Paul Young, Psychedelic Furs, and David Bowie and all
Yeah.
these other people were there.
Yeah.
So I took some pictures, and then I wanted to just get a beer and stuff. I went
Yeah.
into the next room, and David handed me a bottle of wine. He said, "Can you please open the bottle?" I couldn't get it open, so I had to put my finger in the bottle.
The time-honored tradition.
and pour the wine for everyone.
Yeah.
Actually, for all three of us. And then this is a goof. I just held a 24 millimeter lens. I pre-focused it, and I just held it out and went, and that's the one frame I shot.
Okay, so it's like that was a selfie before we were into selfies.
Yeah, well, I was actually leaning.
Oh, okay.
Sitting on the.
I got you. I got you.
I didn't want to put myself in.
Well, okay,
people
yeah.
that didn't do selfies back then.
Okay, so Bowie and
Well, they
Iggy.
did. And so now we're in Hamburg, and after the gigs, you go out to have dinner with the local people and stuff, and they gave us some snacks, and I was looking for a place to pee, and I was really attracted to this wall, and sort of it's like a message to you. I can't make it without you, and this is in Hamburg, yeah. So because the life and music go together. They're not separated. So things that you see sometimes they relate to some of the music that you like.
Are you familiar with a photographer called Penny Smith?
Yeah.
So Penny Smith did a book about the Clash that this book reminds me of a little bit, and it's this very kind of veritas, like it's just you're there.
Yeah.
And that was another thing that made me want to be in a rock and roll band for sure.
Yeah. People don't understand. I mean, there are 24 hours of the day.
Yeah. So
and there's a lot of life that has to be. You live leading up to the gig that's 110 minutes.
This just reminded me of that. That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
And now we're in Milan, and we go for day walks. This is Tsuchi, his wife, and she's just admiring the posters for the gig that we're doing in Milan. Yeah. So just day walks. We always do day walks around the cities, and now everybody tries to outdo each other with their iPhones, like what pictures they got.
Yeah. How is Iggy about that? How does he like everyone looking at concerts through their phones?
Oh, everybody hates that. I
know.
Any musician likes it because it's ruining the experience for the audience because they're so preoccupied with, am I getting the right picture?
Right.
I've actually seen people turn around facing the audience, trying to get a selfie with themselves with the band. It's like go there and enjoy what you're. It's like. Yeah, and you're looking down. You're looking down at all these people, and they're not paying attention. They're like fumbling with their phones. So this is in Zurich, and we would have people that would show up and occasionally, and some of the people you would see again. And this is Santo Domingo in the middle of the picture, and he was a collector, and he collected drug paraphernalia, even though I'm not supposed to say that word, and rock and roll materials. And his rock and roll collection, when he passed, went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and his drug paraphernalia collection went to the Harvard Library. And there's actually
I want to know what kind of drug
book.
paraphernalia
Everything,
he had.
like all the pulp fiction books and bottles and instructions on how to use things. He had tons and tons of stuff.
It wasn't like this is Jimi Hendrix's bong or something.
No, yeah, it was.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, everything. He was one of the wealthiest people in South America, so he had the opportunity to buy everything he wanted. So he had amassed probably the greatest collection of drug paraphernalia.
That is one way to go.
Actually, the name of the book is called the LSD Library because it's part of his name. The Santo Domingo was the SD part, so
that's cool. Wow, I never knew that guy existed.
I went back, look for his book, and Harvard has they have some stuff on the website.
Does he own anything of Iggy's?
Yeah. Well, right there he's.
Oh, well, there. Yeah. Okay.
He was always showing up. Though.
All right. So what's going on here?
We're in Paris here, and. This is Art Collins on the top picture, and in the background you can see Iggy smiling. These are a little bit soft focus here, but you can see Iggy smiling, and that is actually the China girl standing next to him. And the young woman in the foreground, we gave her a T-shirt, and she was so enthusiastic she wanted to try it on immediately.
Hang on, point out who's China girl.
Right there.
Iggy's
right there smiling.
Okay.
Next to him there.
All right.
And down here is Kevin Armstrong and Josh Green. And Josh is Iggy actually wrote about him in the introduction to the book.
Okay.
Yeah, Josh is a great guy.
Cool.
He kind of looks like a character there though, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks like Captain Sensible from The Damned or something.
Yeah, he works with PJ Harvey and lots of different people. Yeah. So now we're in Brixton Academy, and At one point in the night, he took his T-shirt off, and which he did. He actually.
I was going to say
that
was his common state of dress.
When he took his T-shirt off, steam started coming off his body, and it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Is the moment that he did that, and the light captured it.
He's still ripped. How does he stay so fit?
He works out. He does martial sort of. He has his own little thing that he does.
Yeah.
He goes out in the backyard, face stretches and stuff. Yeah, there's a name for it. Yeah, you have to ask him. But you have to take care of your body because you only got one. So eats good food. Yeah, you take care of yourself. Yeah.
Does it? I know we're not talking about any of this, but does he indulge in anything anymore?
Good food, probably in other things. He's a happily married guy, so he's probably the things that happily married guys do.
Okay, cool.
This is the picture I was talking about earlier. And so with the 24mm lens, I'm squished against the stage, and the kids, their hands are just coming around my neck and or over my head and stuff. And I never felt fear. I never felt like I was going to be hurt because for some reason you knew you were supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And this is one of my favorite photographs because he's got his thing going on, and the kids just want a piece. You can tell they're just reaching up. They want a piece of it.
Does he have a favorite photograph of yours?
Maybe the one I showed you at the Ritz because it's hanging in his living room still.
Okay.
And I think there's a picture in here of that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's next to Miss Pamela, one of his.
Is he a guy who covers his house in photos and gold discs and stuff of himself?
Nope.
Good.
Nope. Actually, I think the poster. There's maybe 3 things that I can think of that are rock and roll things.
Okay. Cool.
I'm really proud that he decided that my poster was one of the few things in the house.
I got to my sister is a caterer. She caters for a lot of bands in Ireland, and I got to. I feel like I'm telling tales out of school, but we had to do a party at Joe Elliott's house. Joe Elliott, the lead singer in Def Leppard, and we walked into his house, and he has a spiral staircase that goes up in this big, huge, lavish hallway into his house, and he and his wife are painted on the wall of the spiral staircase, huge, like 20 feet high. Him and his wife and a lion or a tiger at their feet. Classy.
No, I mean, if you spent a lot of money on that, it'd be an incentive to stay married.
There you go. Okay. Okay, here we go.
Yes. So that's the poster. That's like a 4 foot by 5 foot poster. And I was just at a bar in Berlin, and I gave the promoter from Solo, John Giddings, a couple of prints. And I didn't realize when we took the bus across the English Channel, and as we came into London, there was an entire city block with this poster. And as the photographer, I was just like, hey guys, look out the window. It's like, that's my fucking photograph.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And so that's one of the few things he has in his house.
He
collects art, so he's a painter himself.
Yeah. Is there any one city in the world that really is more into Iggy than any other? If I had a short list, I think Berlin and London and New York, right?
I would say more and more people. I think his popularity now is bigger than ever. Really, and
will he keep going?
You got to. You wanted to have time for your life, but when you waited for something for your entire life to happen, to be acknowledged for your work, it's hard to walk away from it.
Yeah,
it's so tempting. But when you see all your contemporaries, people, your friends passing, it's like, hey, give me a few minutes to be me. And
does he not feel he ever truly made it?
What has made it? Made it as an artist is not.
Well, you made it sound like he's still kind of searching.
Well, as an artist, you should.
Okay.
Yeah, if you don't search, if you don't wake up and don't find inspiration to go out and make a sandcastle in your backyard or whatever you do creatively, then you might as well just not be, I suppose.
Okay.
So this is. I hope we have time, but we did a lot of TV shows, and they, in Europe they have these themes.
This is bringing me back.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yes.
In America they didn't do it too much,
No.
but they had like sets and stuff they would put you in. So we did the TV show called Number 73, and you wake up in the morning and on the itinerary it says you're doing 73 today. And you're like, okay. So you get on the bus, we ride over there, and we arrive and they say, so the premise of the TV show is the family are away, the kids invite a band to play in the basement. We're like, fine. So you could go to the set room and it's got like all sorts of props and stuff, and there's some kids there, and he did Real Wild Child, right? Yeah. And there was a big teddy bear about this big. And he picked it up and he started to do adult exercises with it. And afterwards, no one told us it was a live children's Saturday morning TV show. I mean, they could have included that part. And
was this in Britain?
Yeah, it was in
Britain. I can't remember the name of that rat, but I remember this. Roland the Rat.
Yeah.
Oh my God! How could I forget Roland Rat? A childhood hero.
I talked to him yesterday, actually.
Oh, the guy who plays him.
Yeah, David. Yeah.
What is Roland Rat doing these days?
He lives in California.
Okay.
Yeah. But so, News of the World had this thing where they wanted to ban Iggy for life from TV. So we were actually a little concerned, and so then we had to do the BBC thing on the itinerary, and so we're kind of nervous, and we went over there, and there's actually a picture in the book of Iggy like holding a little teddy bear, like, and so then Roland shows up, and he has all his Stooges album and all Iggy's solo albums to sign.
Oh, really?
And we were like,
cool.
So the whole nervousness of being banned from.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's the worst thing in the world. Being banned is sometimes a good thing, but so that's Roland. Actually, David is right down the corner, and that's just Jim
cool.
is just Iggy's just a really fucking great guy.
That's awesome.
And that's Roland Rat. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me back about 30 years.
Christmas special.
Awesome.
Yeah, they had smoke and all sets and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hang on. Okay.
Weird colors.
Did we miss something?
No, but the colors are just really strange. But anyway, so this is just a picture of him really kind of orange at home.
It's like the Donald Trump effect.
But you get to see his blue eyes. He has beautiful blue eyes, and that's one of the things I said with the artist here. Because when I worked with Gary Grimshaw, I did the Instinct album. As an artist, you probably know, love, collect. And we never made his eyes blue, and he has incredible blue eyes, you can see. And with Zoltron, I said, you got to make his eyes blue.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things that we actually accomplished. Yeah, so that's
cool.
just a picture at home around breakfast.
It occurred to me that that's the first color photo we've seen in this whole thing, is it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
No?
I'm wrong. All right, thank you.
Someone's taking notes. Next. So this is just another, in the morning, I'd go over and we'd have breakfast, and he's a painter, and this is one of his paintings. And so it was just, he's got an incredible face, and as a painter, you can see he paints with the same heavy stroke passion that his music is like. And so,
does he exhibit? Does he sell?
He has, actually, that painting is gone somewhere. But I don't know. He's done an exhibit, but yeah, he will probably one of these days.
How old is Iggy?
73, I think.
All right.
Yeah, with whispers. So he's up for pretty much anything. One day I said, let's go to the Temple of Dindur over at the Metropolitan Museum, and I just let him loose to do what he wanted to do, and he's sort of like flipping his wig there. And the expression, and it's just great. It's really cool when you have someone that you don't have to like work on a concept and all this other shit. You just say, let's go over here. It's a cool background. And we actually walked around the museum afterwards. And we would do that occasionally, like in South America, in Argentina. I think there's an Argentina picture where I said, I saw this incredible vulture. We're gonna have to go photograph you next to this vulture. Turned out to be their national bird, which was a condor. Wasn't a vulture, but to me it was a vulture. So
does excuse me, I didn't mean to cough all over you.
That's all right.
Do the ideas come from you or him or both?
Well, I just let him loose doing whatever he conjured up in his head there.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's just be,
Okay.
So, this isn't back in California again. And this is at the Max Sennett Film Studio. Max Sennett's the guy that did the Keystone Cops, Harold Lloyd. He found Charlie Chaplin and all these people. So I was really thrilled to be there. And the director is Sam Raimi from Evil Dead. Yeah. I don't know if you know Evil Dead. And so it was a lot of fun. And so we have Steve Jones. He was formerly a Sex Pistol, Iggy. And then Andy McCoy, he was in Hannah Rocks.
Yeah.
And up in the background you have Alvin Gibbs, who was in UK Subs, and Seamus, who was in Madness, and then and Seamus is in Iggy's current band still today now, his touring band, not his touring band, but his festival band. And then the drummer is Paul Gristo, and he's with the Psychedelic Furs, on and off.
What year was this?
This is 1988.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
You can tell it's one of those rock video things.
Yeah, no,
like fans and all this stuff hanging down the little stuff. Yeah, it's cold. It's cold metal. Cold metal. Yeah. And this is Skull Ring. A few years before Skull Ring, the top was designed by Michael Schmidt, who did the Cher and all that sort of stuff, and he had these beautiful rings. So it's just a close up of his ring. Skull Ring. If you're an Iggy person, you know what I'm talking about.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
But it's a song.
Oh, okay.
And that came out a few years later. But yeah, this is the predecessor of that.
I want to know, how would you describe Iggy's temperament when he's just sitting around having a cup of tea?
He's great. He's a great, natural person.
Friendly?
Yeah. Actually, probably one of the truest friends. A lot of musicians that I work with, they're totally two different people. And he's a real down-to-earth because of the way he grew up.
Yeah.
And I think he's one of probably the best. And he really appreciates, life, but he appreciates the people that, that work with him and stuff. So you don't find that very often in
rock and roll.
Well, in the world.
Yeah.
Even your best friends sometimes.
That's true.
They don't appreciate you. So.
So what's going on here? It looks like the club is shut up for the night.
No, morning. Yeah, it's the Whiskey A Go Go. We did a surprise gig there, and so it's Steve Jones just leaning against the pole, and then it was the band. So that's what the Whiskey looks like without people.
It's a small club.
Yeah, I love the chairs and stuff. It looks like they're about ready to make a fire or something.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that, but I mean, it kind of looks like they're about.
Poor timing on that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I mean, because you can't really have chairs for an Iggy concert. That's just not the thing to do.
Yeah, I do remember now that going back to the Hammersmith Odeon gig that I saw, there were chairs, because that was an old cinema. There was old chairs just being torn out and thrown around.
Well, you're supposed to interact.
Yeah.
You're supposed to enjoy things. Sit there like cross-legged like you're in church or something.
Okay.
So here we went, being regular tourists, we went up to see the Christ, the Redeemer.
Yeah.
Redeemer. I'm from Boston. Redeemer. Redeemer. And it's just Iggy looking out over the city of Rio, and it was real windy that day, so that's the guy.
That's cool.
It's like, hey, my city. And then we went
Look at that.
Yeah, and another one the colors are really weird, but we went to the beach in Copacabana, and they didn't tell us don't bring anything to the beach because he lost his sneakers a few minutes after this picture was taken.
Oh, everything gets stolen.
Yeah. Wow. I'm not really happy with the colors. So.
Oh well, full disclosure, I had nothing to do with this slideshow, so don't blame me. Sorry.
Okay. Next.
Blame Apple TV.
Yeah, it's really orange.
Yeah. Sorry.
Next. So again, this is the Vulture, and we passed it in the bus, and
So this is where, in Buenos Aires, did you say?
Yeah, in Buenos Aires, and it was an incredible, beautiful city. If someone knocked you on the head and put you on a plane, you would never know you were in South America. You would think you were in Germany, and so I said, "Come with me, and we'll go to." He wore a Brazilian soccer.
Oh, not outfit. A good idea. Yeah, that
Argentina.
That could get you killed.
So keep your jacket on.
Yeah.
So that's why it's cropped like that. But then I found out researching it that it's the national bird in the background. But it's just a really beautiful scene, I think.
Okay.
Real natural. And so this is the Gary Grimshaw album it's the poster for the Berlin gig, but that's the album cover Instinct we did. And you'll see the logo there is incorporated in the over there. Okay. So we've actually, the artist Zoltron has actually, done a homage to Iggy, because Iggy's drawing is in there, and also Gary Grimshaw, and to that whole California period, the Whiskey and the Fillmore and the Palace, which is gone. Someone's got to remember all these theaters before they're all gone. So the Whiskey just, I think, got the land.
The Whiskey's still going,
but I think
it?
they just got landmark status because
it's protected.
Just recently, I think, the Sunset is like the Viper Club is going to be made.
And the Palace was on Vine, and that's gone.
Yeah, I think it's a disco or something now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this isn't Halloween again.
That's the kind of the classic Iggy pose.
Yeah. So it's at the Beacon Theater.
Look at that six pack
in New York. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Healthy living.
You get that from either a few exercises you can do.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and then this is years later. This is the Orpheum in Boston, and he's still, he's letting. When you fall backwards into an audience, the faith that you have.
Well, it's that whole classic thing. Yeah, that old routine.
You have to
fall back. Yeah.
And then to have the kids just carry you, it's their appreciation of him. They're protecting, him. It's not like they're going to beat him up or something, which in the old days it could have happened. But
so all the cell phones tell me that this was recent.
Yeah, this is the post-pop depression tour in 2015. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And this is Back to California. This is Desert Days. And you see Kevin Armstrong, his return. He was there in 1986. And then you have Seamus, he's back. And then Matt Sweeney was the bass player for Post Pop Depression, and Matt plays with lots of people. And he occasionally plays with Iggy. And it was just a dust bowl. You can see the dust. I was afraid to change lenses at this thing. But it was an incredible, powerful night. Yeah. Desert Days.
Where is Desert Days? Is that
out in Joshua Tree?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, we were trying. We got the car.
Is it a Josh Homme thing, or is it?
No, I don't think so. But we wanted to see where oh geez, who the guy that was.
Oh, Graham Parsons.
Graham Parsons. It's like we told the driver, take us to where Graham Parsons was burned. I shouldn't be laughing, but
so many years ago. My wife's really into ghosts, and I'm a massive Graham Parsons fan, and so we decided to book a hotel at the Joshua Tree Inn where Graham Parsons died. And it's about a year waiting list to get into the room that he died in. I'm like, so we went and stayed at the Joshua Tree Inn in the room where Graham Parsons died in. And it was the worst night's sleep of our life. It was this grim, just disgusting, dirty motel. Like the kind of hotel where the soap is soldered to the soap holder. And we left in the middle of the night, and then there was all these Europeans who were like, I can't believe you got the Graham Parsons room, and I can't believe you're leaving the room. So not to be recommended, but I can understand the fascination.
Joshua Tree is absolutely a beautiful place. I thought after U2, I thought there was only one tree. You go there and there'd be like all these rocks in that one tree, but the trees are around, and actually
it's stunning.
Kevin, his album cover for Run, we were just goofing off, taking pictures of each other and stuff, and it turned out to be his album cover. He's like, hey, I'm going to use this for the album.
That's cool.
I was like, all right.
Okay.
And so
there you go.
Giving the finger, this is contemporary picture. Used to mean, screw you or fuck off, but he's turned it around and made it a symbol of love, really, and appreciation. And then that's how he starts the night. He'll come out bouncing like, a human hurricane. Yeah. And giving the finger to everybody. And that's his salute as thank you. I love you for all being here.
That's good.
And it sounds like, it's turning such a negative thing into a very positive, I think. At least that's how I perceive it.
I'm sure it is. With Iggy, is it always, everyone's here, the kids are here to have a good time, not to hear me pontificate about this, that, the other. It's a party, it's forget all the shit that's going on in your life.
No, I don't know. Is that why kids go to concerts?
I don't know. To me, some bands are just going to tell you about how shit the world is. Oh, shit. But no, it's a good time, right?
Well, no, what he has something to say. It's his life's body of work, and he presents it. He decides what songs that he'll bring back, and some the new ones, and he's even doing a cover now song, and he's putting together what he wants to do, and he hopes that they enjoy it too. At least that's how I perceive it. I'm not sure, but if you look at the set list, and throughout the book, what I did was I put the set lists from the different tours, so people had an idea as they're reading the book what's happening on stage, what songs he was playing, what songs he had written at that point. Because later, certain songs hadn't even been written yet. So it gives you a sort of a sense of what was cooking on stage at the time.
Did you keep all your little memorabilia, your backstage passes, your press passes?
I do have the German on board. letter. Yeah.
That's cool.
I couldn't believe I found it. We found it in a box. It was all folded up. No, I mean, photographers they need to travel light, and I've lost a lot of things.
Okay, all right.
But I have some stuff.
I think this is the last photo.
Yeah. So this
New
is
York City.
New York City. There used to be a hotel called the Mayflower, a very famous hotel that a lot of music people would stay in. I'm sure regular people stay there too. And it was the morning before we stayed up all night before going to South America. No, we were just excited. I was excited. I had never been to South America before.
Yeah.
It's hard to sleep,
Sure, stay up
and you
all
had,
night.
but no, you had to be at the airport at a certain time.
Yeah.
So and it was a hotel that you could actually open the window and sit out on the ledge, and there was just a beautiful picture of sunrise in New York City, and that's life. You should go out and sit on the ledge.
Yeah.
Why be safe and sit in a corner in a chair?
So that's the last photo. This was a lot of fun. Paul McAlpine, thank you very, very much. I certainly know from doing this with poster artists, and I don't know with photographers, but oftentimes artists don't particularly like to talk about their work very much, so I appreciate you doing it. And thanks for being a good sport. Paul is going to stick around and sign copies of the book, right?
I have there's a few copies up front, and I brought a few. If you get a copy of the book for one reason or another, I have some silver gelatin prints that were from the original layout of the book.
So Iggy Pop. Hang on a second. Iggy Pop, Bare and Real, and you can buy it. And obviously, the timing of the book couldn't be better. A perfect holiday gift, I would imagine. Right?
Yeah, I guess a holiday gift it's only 1,000 of these, so
it's rare.
And I don't know how many are left.
And Iggy does the foreword.
He wrote the foreword, yeah. So
cool.
Kind of in his way. And then I wrote stories about what was going on at the time. The living here. I lived here in the middle of the '80s during the Californication years, and California was pretty wacky then.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
I endorse California.
Where do you live now?
I live in Boston now.
You're back in Boston.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did my time in New York City and in LA, and then various hotels here and there.
Well, this was a real pleasure. Thank you. Despite the color not being good and some people turning orange.
I thought it was me.
No. You're all good. You're all good. So Paul McAlpine, thank you very, very much.